Hey, what's up, guys? Kaoiji. So on October 25th, there was an article from 4Gamer.net where Sega basically went out and said that they know that a lot of the players who have been submitting feedback have been right. Now, you're like, huh? What do you mean? And it's in this article. Basically, what's been going on here is that Sega's been going around recently looking at a lot of the feedback that players have had. They've done this since the release of New Genesis, but even more so have they been able to start implementing a lot of the changes now that they have had time to develop the game. With video games as an entire whole, and I've been doing a lot of research on this, recently, so humor me when I say this, it takes time, right? It doesn't all just stem from the director, although a lot of it does have the director, producer, and everybody else in mind. It's all the heads of the department going to make these decisions and everybody below them. It's like a tree, right? Where it's not just one person. If any of those branches are weak, then the entire tree eventually has the chance to become rotten as well. Not saying that any of this has been on one branch of Sega, but it definitely goes to show that some are stronger than others. But when they mentioned things in this article, they went on to say that combat sectors are the only permanent stable content, addressing the fact that players have said that. And this is the first time in all of these interviews and articles that I've seen Sega actively go out and say that combat sectors specifically are the only permanent stable playable content in the game. So they still feel that content is lacking, even after all the updates that they've done. And if they feel that way, of course players are going to feel that way as well. So they're looking to develop that over time. Now, Criticaster Q put out a good video on talking about the rewards matching the amount of time needed to play, whether or not things need to be more rewarding. I would suggest you guys go watch his video because I think he actually goes over a lot of good points. Some things that I'm going to be touching on in the future, but ultimately I don't need to beat a dead horse. Like that's not how that goes. What I will say is currently, as of right now, my only issue is that there is not enough natural meseta generation to match the natural meseta sinks within the game. When I say natural meseta generation to match natural meseta sinks, I'm not talking about things on the player shop. I'm talking about things like the add-on skill system, the capsule system, the enhancement system, the multi-weapon system, all of these things. The natural meseta cost is uneven to the amount of natural meseta generation, meaning you're always going to be negative because there's just a lot of meseta being drained from you if you are actively participating in a lot of these things that are available in the game. Especially if you're unlucky with the add-on system, because God knows that's a problem. Right? They also go on to mention that urgent quests, they don't want the game to be like base PSO2, which is why they've started adding trigger systems. Again, like what people have been asking for a while. However, if they did go the route of the urgent quest, it would be for special urgent quests and not for ones that are associated by region. I don't know what that means, but I would hope that means like, big bosses like Dark Falls or, other major events, that happen in the games and game story where the urgent quest system is necessary to take precedent over the ones that are available. What I personally would like to see for the game, based on the sentence alone, is that they had one major urgent quest that was like, hey, this is the crazy big boss you're looking for, but also all of these new little urgents here and there, so you could choose and pick which ones you want. Eventually, based on an event that we're going to be having in the future, I would like them to allow us to choose at least 2 urgent quests to participate in, even if they're 2 different ones, because that would be cool. If let's say I want to farm something from the Kavaris region, but I also want to, after I'm done with that, go over to the Reddit region, I should be able to take those 2 urgents because they're largely not they don't even have the same item pool in most cases. So that would be very nice as well, allowing us to diversify and commit to all of the content they developed and not just lock me out of one because they're like, hey, whatever. One other thing to keep in mind is that this is something that happened with the Raged Gorge, and I'm very proud of Sega of addressing this because it's a big deal. Nobody liked taking continuous damage if you did not prepare for it in the Raged Gorge. So they came out already to say that that's not going to happen in the Steer region, right? But They did mention that the Styr region, much like the Kavaris region, will have combat taking place in the exploration zones. And I'm assuming by when they say that, they don't just mean gigantics. They actually mean things like the ancient enemies that were in the Raged Gorge, which is why they mentioned this in the first place. What I would like to see based on this article here is that they need to have more content, right? Because they are talking about content in this. Is they need to have more content that are available in the Trania that don't just look all blue, purple, and yellow, right? Allow us to be able to utilize these spaces for more than that. You know, maybe if you wanted to create an enclosed special region for an event, use the cocoon system. They developed that. That's really cool. And it would be cool to see it like digitally break down and you're in this other area. Imagine if, you know, you went into a cocoon and suddenly it's that blue system that it's always known for right now in New Genesis, but then it like breaks down and suddenly you're in a place from PSO2 or even Phantasy Star Universe. That'd be cool as hell. That'd be really cool. And that'd be cool for an event or a crossover event. Sega, take notes. So I would like them to see to use the Tranium Wars, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen again with the combat that's going to happen in the regions going forward, right? They mentioned that the fact that their seasonal events lack variety. I'm currently okay with this because they're adding more limited quests, but also the current event system is always like break time, right? Anybody who wanted to take a break from the game is able to, because there's you only handle the events for a little bit, you farm for a little bit, you take some breaks, you chill and you relax, and then when new content comes out, you're fresh and ready for it, which is why I actually like the way that they currently have the event system. I would like more from the events. I absolutely would. I would like the events to at least have more variety, but I'm okay with things as they are. And I had to learn that because I realized there's a lot of games out there, man. There's a lot of cool stuff. And Sega, even themselves, have been trying to introduce a lot of cool things. Not the NFTs. I hate that. Sega, if you're listening, please, I know that's an arcade only thing, but go back on that because that's not going to end well. But everything else you're doing, kind of cool. Anyway, had to get that in there. Sorry, guys. But the other thing to keep in mind is that after all of this, they mentioned it again at the end of the article, that they still feel that there are areas that they're lacking in, and with future plans ahead, they think that they're going to be seeing gradual improvements in those areas. Now, that excites me in a way because that makes me feel as actually they are listening to the community base, but then on top of that, they are looking to implement stable playable content that players can enjoy, that's not just combat sectors, things that they can go back to time and time again, even in the future. I would like them to update the Geometric Labyrinth, the Cannonball Strike, and all of these other new things that have happened in each individual region, so that way we can enjoy all of that content that they've done and they've already built. Because there's one thing that I have a problem with New Genesis for, is that they currently have a lot of content, but you only do it, some of them, maybe once. Geometric Labyrinth, you unlock all your challenges and all that, you're kind of done. Cannonball Strike is kind of the same way for the non-queued version, right? You kind of only do it maybe a handful of times and then that's it. But if you implemented certain rewards or reasons to continue going forward into them, that's not just a weekly, right? But actual reasons to go into them, like maybe there's certain gear or maybe a certain weapon that drops from these. Maybe even if it's a joke weapon, something that gives us some sense of accomplishment for having ran it for so long. That's not necessarily just a motion or a piece of fashion, right? But something that we can actively use. That'd be really cool. And that's something that I've been asking for a while, because, and I speak about this in the video that I'm currently working on. Again, I've been working on this for a month, so you may not see it for a while, but I mentioned the way that Phantasy Star Universe had you going to all of the different city states or planets to be able to find missions. And then certain missions would have things that you would farm over and over because they were the best in slot or were the best item. But they were different series in general, right? It'd be really cool that if eventually each region has its own set of plus and minus kind of equipment, and it's not just here's the 6-star armor, here's the Gigantics armor, but this region armor gives you plus PP, HP, and then these stats. This region gives you plus blah, 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 and these stats, and then so on and so forth. So this way, if there's something that I want to farm for, I have to actively go to these other regions to participate in. And that means that all of the content that's available in the game becomes worthwhile, right? Because to me, that just makes more sense. But again, I'm excited and I have a lot of faith in Sega because, again, as far as I'm aware, this is one of the first times that they've actively addressed that they have a problem when it comes to the combat sectors, and they have a plan to continue improving in the future. And they've acknowledged what players have said. And to me, that's exciting. It's very exciting. But anyway, guys, this is just a random video that I wanted to put out. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.